Hello, everyone. Welcome again to More Layers. I'm Seth Mariano.
And I'm Jordan Smith. And for this particular episode, it's kind of a special one in a way because the central topic will center around a forum that we did not too long ago. And it wasn't just any forum, it was a forum where we got to speak about autism and our experiences with it, partly because, we're still in Autism Acceptance Month as of recording this. But we're part of an organization that looks to spread autism awareness and acceptance. And this forum could end up being the start of something much bigger.
Yeah. So this was a forum event that was done through a nonprofit organization called Campaign D, which is all about autism awareness and decreasing the stigma popularly surrounding, I mean, autism spectrum disorder. And so the other weekend we got to do like a sort of open discussion forum where the public could come to a local library and hear our thoughts on our experiences with it and the public image of it and other and things related to it. And we had some questions of our own and that we were kind of asked and we responded to and got a chance to talk to some people afterwards, shake some hands. It was a pretty good opportunity for us to you know, shed some accurate light on the topic and maybe help people make more sense of it.
For sure. And I was very thrilled to see the turnout that we did because, it's in a local library in one room off to the side. You wouldn't think there would be that many people. But in the end, we had quite a few people, a lot more than we were expecting, which is awesome because the more people we can reach out to, the more of a positive impact we can hope to have.
Yeah, it was a packed room. I believe every seat was taken from what I saw.
It really was. In fact, I'd even say it was overflowing by the end.
Yeah.
Um, and just there were some familiar faces in there coming to support us, which was great. But there were certainly people that we didn't recognize either. So seeing people that we didn't know, some people that we did, really helped. And then it was also recorded live for platforms like Facebook. So there were even more people watching that we don't even know the full numbers of.
Yeah. If you're curious about autism or anything, or if you know us personally and you want to see the experience, it should be available on demand for playing on the aforementioned Facebook or what have you. So
Yes.
yeah.
Uh, I was trying to pull up a view count of it. Yep. Based on what I'm seeing on Facebook, it's been viewed over 3,000 times.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad at all. Um, and I do want to take a moment to thank the library that hosted us for doing just that, giving us a space to talk about this sort of thing. It really means a lot that people are willing to help us out and give us a foothold of sorts. And considering it was a nice public place where people could easily come in if they wanted to, it really means a lot.
Yeah, thanks to the community, thanks to the police and the aforementioned library who were involved, and just and thanks again to everyone, whether friends or strangers, for coming out and getting involved and just coming there to see it and maybe in some cases speak with us and yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
And I'd also, now that I'm thinking about it, like to thank our mutual friend Chad Casano over at Casano Studios. He wasn't able to be there in person. He was doing some other events that he needed to attend. However, when the event started, he had prepared this really well done intro video that involved this little animated alien of sorts, supposedly communicating from outer space and kind of setting up the event. He had this character introduce us one by one, along with a song that we each chose. And it's like he could have easily done something very simple that lasted maybe a minute. But I think this video ended up lasting closer to 5 minutes, and he took the time to introduce each one of us in a way that we enjoyed. And I think some of the excitement around the event was really helped by what he was able to do for us.
Yeah, definitely thanks to Chad Casano, whom I recently began studying voice acting under on Saturdays. And yeah, he's been wonder, wonderfully supportive and a great coach and a great friend. I can't be anything but grateful.
For sure. He has definitely helped me, helped Seth, and many of our mutual friends through a lot of things, helping us learn more about voice acting, kind of honing our skills. And he's definitely been working behind the scenes trying to get us more professional work, but that is still a work in progress. But you know, you got to start somewhere, just like this forum. It's a great starting point, and can't wait to see how it blossoms in the future. But as I mentioned, he used this video to kind of introduce all of us. And the song that I use was Jelly Roll's Run It, which was played originally in the credits of the third Sonic film. And I did originally plan on going in with more elaborate, crazy dance moves, I guess, for the lack of a better phrasing. But I didn't realize how little space I would have, because it's basically walk through the door and then there's the table. But no, I chose Run It because it's a very energetic, very hype up song, and it was from something that I really enjoyed. So I figured in a way it would kind of encapsulate who I was as a person.
Yeah, yeah. I chose the opening song "Good Morning, Good Day" from the musical She Loves Me, which more than once I've mentioned on this show. I recently saw, and it's a favorite musical of mine. I'm a bit of a musical theater geek, a bit of an old soul. So I, yeah, it's a bit of a probably an unexpected choice, but yeah, yeah, it was kind of how I roll.
And that is perfectly fine. Like I did with mine, excuse me, it encapsulates you, who you are as a person, some of the stuff that you like. Uh, like you said, it's from a musical thing and you're into musicals, so that's definitely made clear by that song.
Yeah.
And it was like a happy-go-lucky, upbeat type of song, which shows how fun of a person you are.
Yeah, it is pretty fun and upbeat. Yeah, it's a pretty funny song and all. Yeah.
For sure. And once everyone was sat down, what happened was the moderator, if you will, Virginia McIntyre, wonderful lady, by the way, thanks to her as well. She kind of set up everything, kind of introduced everybody to what was going on even before the video that Chad made. And then she started to, in a sort of randomized order, ask each of the panelists, two of us, including the two of us, rather, my apologies. She started going in a randomized order, asking us various questions that we had thought of beforehand that we thought were important to discuss. Like one of the ones I wrote down is whether or not I thought my parents did well raising me as a person with autism. And long story short, my answer was absolutely. Because my parents kind of suspected something was going on before I got my diagnosis, but then they were able to put a name to it when I was 13. And they could have easily continued raising me the way that they had up to that point, and things would have probably turned out fine. But they didn't do that. They were very understanding. They helped me with things that, well, I needed help with. For example, at some point early on in my life, I don't know if it's necessarily a fear of thunderstorms, but I do get anxious when it comes to loud noises that I am not prepared for. So if there's a loud thunder strike that I wasn't prepared for, I might jump or get anxious. And my dad would always be there to just embrace me, reminding me everything's okay. And then my mom, I've told this story at the forum and at her funeral and other places as well. Once she found out about my autism, she sat down and did extensive research on what autism was, how it affects different people, how to interact with those who had it, as well as raise someone with autism. And she adjusted accordingly. And I think it really enlightened her. It definitely helped me. And you would think she would only need to stop there. Instead, once I joined Artists Unlimited and she met all these other people with various types of disabilities, she did a lot of research on those as well. And there's so many people in that cast, like around 60, 70, maybe even 80, depending on the show. It's like that just shows how dedicated my parents were to raising me. And that speaks volumes. And since they've passed away, I am going to carry on their legacy and show just how much love they had for me, and in a sense, pay it forward.
Yeah, I was thinking about that loud noise thing. I'm guessing you probably haven't seen the movie or the stage show of Into the Woods, right?
I know of it, and I feel like I've seen previews for the film that came out a while ago, but I have not seen it.
Yeah. So of course, as I mentioned before, I recently saw it live on stage, and there is one little abrupt, not exactly abrupt because it's kind of set up subtly, but it's still kind of a kind of an unexpected loud boom for like when certain disaster strikes during the second act. But yeah. So like, admittedly, I was not ready for that. My heart jumped up a bit, but I adjusted pretty fast. But I don't know. Might be good. Might just. I guess my point is, you're not exactly alone.
Sure. And it's definitely reassuring to know that. Uh, Granted, I wouldn't wish that somebody would endure that like I do, but given the circumstances, it's always nice to have someone to relate to. I think it's also a big reason why I don't really watch a lot of horror movies, because there's way too many instances of, for example, somebody's walking through a dark area and all of a sudden someone or something jumps out and there's a loud sound or note in a song that plays. So I think like the jump scare itself doesn't usually get me. It's more the loud noise that I'm not prepared for. Like I kind of know it's coming, but I don't know exactly when, and that throws me off balance.
Right.
But yeah, it was things like that that my dad made sure to watch for in case I got really anxious. But yeah, I definitely think my parents did well.
Yeah. I also kind of wrote some questions that I answered about like depiction of autism in popular culture and other things like feeling kind of below everybody, kind of feeling like neurotypical people are typically quicker on their feet and stuff, and yeah, I feel like I was able to kind of have, have a little fun with it and just be openly honest, and I think the feedback was overall good.
I would definitely say so. Uh, like all the questions that we had and the way each of us answered them were met with a room full of applause. In fact, by the end, there was a standing ovation. In a similar vein to the question you just talked about, one that I answered as well was like how I think autism is being portrayed in things like movies and TV shows, basically popular entertainment mediums. It's like I'm definitely thrilled that that's the case. At the same time, if that's going to be done, I would appreciate if it's portrayed accurately. Because, like with any other group, if it's portrayed inaccurately or if it's misrepresented, then it can give people the wrong perception of what it is and how it can affect people, just possibly unintentionally putting things like autism in a negative light, which it doesn't need to be. So I would say that it's great to see as long as it's portrayed accurately. On top of that, I think it's equally as important, though it's not necessarily as required, if that makes sense, that if there's going to be a character with autism, I think it should be played by someone with that form of autism. Because who better to portray something than someone who's lived with it or lived through it throughout their life? I'm sure there's been times where characters with autism are played by someone who doesn't have it and do it well. But there's just something about somebody who's lived through it that can give a unique spin on something like that.
You know, I think I'm okay with regardless of whether the actor is autistic in real life or not. But I feel like there is definitely a special power to someone who actually lives with it in real life and can therefore relate it. That gives it like an extra stinging power or something, kind of like what you're saying.
Absolutely. It gives a, a sense of authenticity, if you will, that would be very difficult to establish otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. And we also even before the forum, um, when we got to you know, be interviewed with a couple local TV stations, kind of about what the event was about and kind of our hopes for it and hope for the kind of impact it'll have. And uh, that in itself was fun for me.
Oh, absolutely. It was great to see that not only was this event in a public space that was easily accessible, that could also be broadcast live, but the fact that it was covered by, I think, three different news stations simultaneously was also a huge deal. Um, that being said, I laugh a little bit because at least two out of the three news stations that covered the event got some things a little mixed up or might have accidentally said something that was slightly inaccurate. For example, one of them, they interviewed myself and another one of the panelists, Jason is his name. And yet, when they showed our interviews on TV, they ended up switching our names around by accident. So they referred to me as Jason and they referred to him as Jordan.
Mm.
Now, for the record, I'm not bothered by that. I'm not upset about it. I actually kind of find it funny, especially since throughout my life I've been unintentionally called other J names. So I'm kind of used to it by now. Um, yeah, it was kind of amusing in a way. And then, oh, were you about to say something?
I was just thinking, I think like I don't know if I don't know of anybody who has done this in real life, like parents naming their twins, like alliterating names or anything like that. I don't know. Do you know anybody who's done that?
Like their first and last name start with the same letter?
Like same first initial?
Uh, I feel like that's had to have happened before. I don't know if I can think of anybody off the top of my head that have very similar names. I know some sets of twins for sure, but I don't know of any whose names are very close. But yeah, I'm sure there's twins, triplets, or whatever out there that their names start with the same letter, or their entire name is the same aside from one letter. Like, say, one could be named Tim, one could be named Tom, or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's done like in a lot of like animation and stuff. I think it's really goofy. I think it would be goofy if that was done in real life, but if they do, that's fine. Just think it's a bit weird though.
It definitely can be, and could be confusing for them or other people who are trying to remember who they are. Actually, Dude Perfect, I want to make sure I get this right, because there's actually 3 people in that group of 5 whose names are very similar, and 2 of them are twins. I want to say Cody is the one that isn't a twin. Yes, Cody is not the twin, but the 2 that are, their names are Kobe and Corey. So I guess I know at least one instance of that happening, not personally, but I know that I sometimes have trouble remembering which is which.
Yeah, yeah, which is fine. Again, I'm not saying don't do it. This is stupid. I'm just saying it's just a bit weird for me.
Sure, I can get that. And then that was one news station. One of the other ones, again, not really anything crucial. It was more just like a couple minor hiccups. When they didn't show any interviews with us, but when they were talking about the event, they referred to Campaign D as Campaign DA. And then they said there were 5 people speaking, which is obviously inaccurate. But what was amusing about it is when they said there were 5, they showed the entire panel of us, which consisted of at least 8. So I'm thinking either just a minor hiccup in what they were saying, which is fine, or maybe somebody who was sending them the information might have accidentally mistyped something and they just took what was written. But again, no big deal. Just a minor hiccup in presentation.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Exactly. And it doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't hinder anything. So if anything, I might just get a small laugh out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Thank you. One thing that was very moving is that some of our close friends were there for sure. But I don't really have too many people in my biological family anywhere near where we are. But it turned out that my aunt, one of my dad's sisters, along with her husband, came from, I want to say Pennsylvania is where they are now, all the way to here just to see the forum in person. They've
got some family there.
Yeah, I definitely did. And they've also been coming to our Artist Unlimited productions every year. So to see them come for something like this, which is on a smaller scale than that, is very touching to me because it shows just how much they care to travel all those miles just for that. And it was, they took me out to lunch afterwards, and it was just a wonderful experience catching up with them, just seeing how everything's going.
And I don't know if you saw the Instagram link I put in our little document or not. Yeah, did you?
I saw the link, and even before I did, I saw that exact image somewhere. I want to say either on Facebook or some other social media platform, but it was from a really important person to me because she's a professional in the field that I hope to pursue.
Yeah. So it was a post by specifically Tara Strong, perhaps one of the biggest names in voice acting in the modern era. Did Timmy Turner on Fairly Odd Parents, I think
Yep.
Bubbles, one of the Powerpuff Girls,
She was
and
Bubbles. Yep.
yeah, and and a bunch of other roles like Teen Titans Go, I think is another credit, and yeah, it was just a nice little a little encouraging post saying, hey, you know, you're cool as you are, or you're different, but that's fine, something like that. I can't remember what exactly, but I just found that very pretty exciting because again, she's such a big name in her field and in entertainment in general. I feel like I couldn't be any less than grateful for that.
I completely agree. It's very important that we are able to make a difference on the scale that we can right now in local areas and whatnot. But seeing somebody with a big name like that in that sort of field where a lot of people can see or hear her, being able to reassure people like us with messages like that, I think it's going to go a long way.
Even after that, we may still have a long way to go, but I feel like it's a step in the right direction, or it's a reminder that there is that there is some pure and uh, genuine attitude even among um, the advantaged community.
Yeah, it's like what Stan Lee said in one of the Spider-Man movies at one point, where he was just saying, "I guess one person can make a difference." So it's like, even if that's the only thing she ever says, that is a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. So so personally, thank you, Tara, for that,
Mm.
and for all all you've done in animation and stuff, and especially for that message. That was really nice.
Yep, and you inspire us all the time as voice actors. I hope to meet you, Tara, at some point. I don't know when, where, or how, but if I ever get the opportunity to do so, I would love to thank you in person for relaying messages like that to the general public.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I guess that's about all we can say. Thanks for listening, watching. I'm gonna keep up with the updates on my Instagram, Seth_Mariano_AU, and keep up with updates on Spotify, YouTube, and send an Instagram DM or a comment and keep the conversation going.
Absolutely. And if you have any ideas for future episodes, let us know what they are. If you have more questions about the forum that we did, we'd love to hear those. Or if you have questions about autism of your own, those are absolutely more than welcomed. And if you want to see the forum itself, it is still available as of now on Campaign D's Facebook page. You'd have to scroll back to April 19th in order to see it. So you might have to scroll down a little bit, but it is there. And if you do watch it, we'd love to know your thoughts.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you yeah, any questions about it or whatever, send a DM to my Instagram or something. I can maybe help you with that.
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's gonna be it. And until next time, take care.
So long, everyone.